everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny, and you can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Honeybird Studio. Today I wanted to talk about my weekend adventures at Knit City Vancouver, and it is, so it's a couple days later. I think it's Wednesday, September 27th, and I'm finally settled in back home. I spent the weekend over at a friend's place so we could hit up Knit City for both Saturday and Sunday markets. And yeah, so today's like my first, well, technically yesterday was my first full day at home, but I was still unwinding. So today I'm filming an episode or a video about Knit City Vancouver 2023. So this past weekend I went to both the Saturday and Sunday marketplace for Knit City Vancouver, and I will say Saturday was definitely the biggest day of purchases. And then Sunday was picking up a couple of notions. I think I just picked up a couple of notions and one more project quantity of yarn. So this year I went with a plan. I had, I believe, 5 projects in mind that I wanted to buy for. A sweater, a cardigan, a vest, and 3 hats. Essentially, I wanted to knit the Musselburgh twice, and then my list toque once, and then the other garments were, the sweater, cardigan, and a vest. So I'll start with the yarn, because that's notions are fun too, but this is my bag of yarn this is all the yarn that I purchased at Knit City, and there are 6 projects worth of yarn in here. So I guess I'll start with what's on top, which is the yarn that I bought on Sunday. And I had bought, on Saturday I bought the yarn for 5 projects, and then on Sunday I was like, okay, I'm going to get yarn for the vest I want to make. And so the vest that I wanted to make is the Moby Slipover by Petite Knit. And at this point, I don't think I've knit any Petite Knit patterns before, so this will be my first one. And I really like the texture on the Moby sweater, I like the Moby sweater too, but I want the slipover. And so it's got like texture detail down the front center and then cables down the sides. And then I think it's got more textured stitches on the sides of the slipover. And so my intention was to get gray yarn because I really like the sample photos of both the light gray and the mid gray. And I was planning on going to Ancient Arts Yarns to get a gray yarn from their booth, because I had scoped them out on Saturday, and on Sunday I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna go get this gray yarn. However, when I walked past the front of the booth, which I apparently didn't see on the first day, because I think I came in one side and went out the other without crossing the front of the booth. So they had a table of yarn that I believe was sourced, like the whole thing is sourced and spun locally in Alberta. I'm trying to remember, there was a lovely lady at the booth that explained the whole process to me. And she said basically like the wool comes from Alberta sheep, I believe, and then is sent to be carded also in Alberta. I want to say somewhere in Carstairs is what that sounds familiar, Carstairs. And it's spun, and yeah, so it's like, it sounded like, oh, like, wow, like it's a very much locally sourced wool. And I thought, oh, I like this. And they had a pink on the table that I just was in love with, but I'm already making a sweater in pink yarn, so yeah. And they didn't have gray in this particular base, so it was a toss-up between like the pink, a burgundy, and then like a plain, I would say plain, like a natural white, or natural beige white color. So I ended up going with like I think this is called Bordeaux. This is French Bordeaux. Yes. I believe this is the same colorway that I used in my mosaic shawl for one of the contrast colors. earlier this year, last year. So this is it. So I've got 3 skeins. And let's see. It is, yeah, grown, milled, and dyed in Alberta, Canada. So, yeah. So I got 3 skeins of this. I'm hoping it'll be enough because I think initially, I don't know if I'm going to make, I'm still kind of torn. If I have enough yarn, I might make the full length slip over, but I kind of like cropped vests or like cropped slipovers. So it's a top down slip over. So I will be able to just keep knitting it as long as I have yarn for it. And I think, yeah, because I'll do, once I get to connecting it around under the sleeves, I'll knit for like an inch or 2, and then I'll do the ribbing around the sleeves and the neckline, and then all the rest of the yarn I'll just knit until I run out, or if I want to make it cropped, or if I can make it longer. So yeah, sorry, the lighting, I'm filming in my basement suite where I live, where the lighting is not very great because I have one window and it's across the way over there, and it's a frosted window, so it doesn't even let in that much light. So this is all ceiling lights, so apologies for the quality or lack of. This is coming out more of like a, I don't know, it's more red than it is on camera. It looks a little bit orangey, but it's definitely more red. But yeah, it feels toothy, not like super rustic, but I figure, like, I don't think it would bother my skin even if I wasn't wearing it next to skin. Yeah, I think it would be okay. But it's going to be a vest, so I'm going to be wearing it over top of a shirt. So anyways, all that to say, I got 3 skeins of it. It's the Heritage Base Ancient Arts Yarns, and I'm really looking forward to knitting with this. So that is my first project worth of yarn. And then I guess keeping in the burgundy color theme, my next, let me just make sure I got the name of it right. I got my cue here. And so my next project is the Acacia cardigan by Irene Lynn. Of course, I had to go with an Irene Lynn pattern in mind, even though I think I've got the gown cardigan and the mosaic shawl. No, I'm sorry, the mosaic cardigan. So I've got 2 of her cardigans on the needles right now, and then I want to cast on another cardigan, the Acacia cardigan. So I went to Kensington Prairie Farms booth, and I purchased some of this alpaca yarn. So it's 100% baby alpaca, and this is also in the colorway Bordeaux. So it's kind of similar. Like, this one's lighter than this. Like, this is a more rich, I guess the dye takes more richly on this base than this one. Because this is like, oh yeah, so yeah, so I bought 6 of these. I'm pretty sure I only needed 5, but I bought a 6th one just to be safe, because I figure if I have enough yarn left over, I might make the cardigan longer, instead of the length that it is in the pattern, because I do like a longer cardigan, but we'll see. So I've got, well, I can't hold them all up. There we go. I got 6. So I got 6 of these, and it's a DK weight yarn. It is, or it's basically a DK weight. Yeah. So I've definitely got enough. I should definitely have enough there for the Acacia cardigan. It's kind of like an all over lace and cable cardigan. And, you know, I love cables and I love lace, and I just can't say no to the combination of the 2 of them together. So that was, yeah, Kensington Prairie Farm, which I believe I've bought from their booth almost every year that I've been to Knit City, because they always have something. I feel like they have really great prices on their yarn. Like, this is $18 for 100 grams of yarn, and it's 100% baby alpaca, and it's just, and they had like at least 20 or so, probably more. They had a lot of colorways in this particular yarn, and I originally intended to get a kind of a mustard yellow, the same that's in the sample for the pattern, or that's in the pattern sample. But I'm still not 100% sold on wearing yellow. I mean, I have that one yellow. I'm working on my Moonset tee, which is kind of like a muted mustardy yellow. And then I had the Lexa top that I knit earlier in the summer. And that's kind of more of a like a yellow, like a mustard yellow. And it looked really good on me, but I'm still not 100% sold. So I figure I stay within my wheelhouse and go with the burgundy, because I know I like burgundy. So that's project number 2. And then, or I should say that's garment number 2. And then garment number 3 is going to be, I just have to look it up because I forgot the name of it. It's called Keep It Warm Sweater by Yeon Hwa Lee. And it's a beautiful lace or sweater with a lace panel down the front and on the arms, which I love. And it looks like it has either faux cables or little tiny cables. The yarn I got for that sweater is by Midnight Cravings. It's my favorite base ever. Their Comfort Sport DK. And the color I got is Rosewater. So I knit, last year I bought, I believe, fingering weight yarn in the Rosewater colorway, and I knit the Ola sweater by Irene Lynn. And I really like this colorway a lot. I didn't alternate the skeins at all. I feel like the dye, the colorway, the way that the dye takes to the yarn, or the way that Midnight Cravings dyes their tonals and semi-solids, is such that I didn't find any pooling whatsoever without, like, because I wasn't alternating skeins. Generally with hand-dyed yarn, you would alternate skeins just to avoid color pooling, but I didn't have that issue when I knit the Ola sweater, so I'm hoping the same thing will happen this time, where I don't have to alternate, or I won't be alternating skeins, and it'll look just fine. So I've got 4 skeins of the Comfort Sport DK Comfort Sport DK base in the Rosewater colorway. So it's looking a little bit more washed out because of my lighting. It's a very nice pale pink. It's very nice. It's very, maybe, I don't know. It's not looking as like it's not looking as pink as it is in person. So I bought these to make that sweater. Super excited about it. And I don't know what I'm going to cast on first. The sweater, the cardigan, or the vest. I might do the vest first, just because that's more of the vest or the cardigan, it's more of a transitional piece, and then save the sweater for later. I'll probably do the vest first, and then the cardigan, and then the sweater. Yeah, so pink, of course. I just have a color palette, burgundy pink. And then also from Midnight Cravings, I purchased, of course, Petal on the Comfort Sport DK base. And this is going to be a Liss toque. So the Liss toque is a pattern I designed, I think it was like a couple years ago at this point. It's got a cable pattern all the way around, and it's got a wide folded brim. I think it's like you knit 6 inches of 2x2 ribbing before you start the cabling, and then you fold it up to, yeah. Anyway, so I know I've said this before, but I'm working on like updating the pattern, but I do plan on having the Liss toque updated by the end of October, hopefully, so I can maybe get better pictures. I want to get better pictures for the pattern. And yeah, so that's that. And then what is that? So that's accessory number 1, which is a hat. And then again from Midnight Cravings, I purchased a base that they only carry at shows, and this is their silky sock base. It is 75% merino, superwash merino, and 25% mulberry silk. And for 100 grams, it's 400 meters or 437 yards. And the colorway I got is called Serenade. Oh my gosh, I love this color and I love the feel of this yarn. And so, they had a handful of colors in this, and I could have gone with something that wasn't pink. But I want to knit a Musselburgh hat. So I figure I like wearing pink accessories, and so why not knit another pink hat? I know this is kind of like this is a pink hat. This will be a pink hat. I've got a pink sweater, and then like my burgundy or my Bordeaux cardigan and vest. Anyways, so yeah, so this is a base that they don't carry on their website, and yeah, Jaden was telling me it's a base that they only carry at shows, so you have to be in person at a show to get this yarn. So I couldn't say no. I was like, I have to have it because Knit City Vancouver is not happening next year, so it'll be a while before I see Knit Cravings in person again. So I figure I gotta pick it up. And yeah, so that's gonna be a Musselburgh hat. And oh yeah, I wanted to also say on Saturday morning, one of the first booths I went to was Knit Cravings, and I saw Jaden and Tara, and it was so exciting because I had just released my Birkeland shawl last week, and I used their Comfort Sport DK base to make that shawl, and so I brought it to Knit City, and I gifted it to Jaden and Tara because it's just, I don't know, it felt right, and I felt really, it just feels good because it's like, you know, being supported and supporting others in the knitting community and like the yarn, fiber, dyeing, like the whole community. I feel like it's such a like give and take kind of thing. It's so wonderful to be a part of something where people are so supportive of each other, and so I wanted to kind of give back to them in that way of like, hey, like here is this shawl that I knit out of your yarn, and like thank you so much for helping support me as a designer. And it was just such a wonderful exchange, and we talked for like quite a bit about the pattern, the shawl, and like just yarn and all the goodness that comes with it kind of thing. And so it was such a wonderful experience. And I will say, like, I always get so nervous, and I get so like nervous and excited and anxious and like all those emotions rolled up into one whenever I get to chat with other people in the community, because it's like I feel like everyone in my mind, everyone that I know from like online, Instagram or Ravelry or YouTube or whatever, it's like if I meet them in person, it's like they're always a celebrity status in my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, like I know you from online. So it's always, yeah, it's just fun to meet people face to face and to say hello and have a nice little chat and stuff. So anyways, all that to say, it was really fun to see Jaden and Tara again. And yeah, so I think that was my biggest purchase on day one, was that Knit Cravings, because I bought 6 skeins total from their booth, and I know I love their yarn, and I know it's going to go into beautiful projects, and I can't wait. Yeah, and then so the last yarn I bought is from Ginger Snap. So I bought their, this is Onyx colorway on their Lush Fingering 2-ply. So this is 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. And this is going to be a Musselburgh hat as well. I think my original intention was to knit a black Musselburgh hat. And so I figured, I know that Ginger Snap has a really nice black base, or like a really nice dark cohesive black colorway, and so I definitely made sure to go hit up their booth. They have quite a big booth on, like when you first walk in, they were like to the right, I believe. And this year Kim was telling me that Colin put together the blacklight booth, which was really cool to see. It was basically like a little booth with black curtains, and they had the black lights in there with their UV, like their yarn that has the UV, what do you call it? Like it glows under the UV lights basically, and so they had a lot of different samples. It was super cool to see. And yeah, so I got talking to Kim for a bit, and I know Knit City Vancouver is not coming, or Knit City is not coming to Vancouver next fall. Instead, they're going to Calgary next year in, I think, August. And I was talking with Kim, and I was like, oh, you know, it's a bit far, it's out of the way, brought, you know, plane ticket out and hotel and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, oh, well, you know, you could get the cheap flights through, like, I think it's like Flair Air, or like the Flair Airlines, and then like an Airbnb or bed and breakfast or something. It's like, oh yeah, you know, you can probably get there pretty cheap. And then I'm like, oh no, now you're tempting me. So now I'm thinking, do I want to go to Calgary next year for Knit City? But yeah, so I mean, after talking with her, I'm like, okay, it's somewhere on my list of potential things for next year. But yeah, so anyways, it was lovely to chat with her as well. And so I left the booth with this yarn. And yeah, so it's gonna be a Musselburgh hat. So basically I have all pink yarns, pink, burgundy, and then I have one black. You tell I had a definite like color palette I'm going for. Yeah, so that's all the yarn purchases I made over the weekend. And then I also went with the intention of buying some notions. Specifically, I wanted a pair of scissors, I wanted some stitch markers, and I wanted stitch markers specifically from Firefly Notes and Ocean Loops because I don't know, I'm just tried and true. I love them both. Even though like Ocean Loops makes beautiful stitch markers, and I only ever use them for for smaller projects, like when I'm knitting a hat or socks or something, because I'm not I'm not a huge fan of like the dangly stitch markers, but they're so beautiful to look at. And like every time you come around, like when I'm knitting a hat, every time I come around to slip the marker, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. So I was like, okay, I have to hit up Ocean Loops again because I wanted to get, last year I got pink stitch markers and this year I got purple stitch markers. So anyways, oh, and then the other thing is I wanted to get a project bag as well. And then everything else was kind of like extra. So the first thing I'll talk about is this beautiful project bag. Oh, am I holding it the wrong way? This beautiful project bag that I got from, they were called Atelier Nikozuki. So that's their little leather patch there. And I saw the cats and I said, oh my god, I need to have these cats. I need to have this bag with cats on it. She has, I would say like half a dozen or maybe like a dozen different styles of project bags. Because there was like the more boxy ones. There was this one. They had the ones that you can kind of like hang off your wrist and knit from. There were smaller bags. There was like big tote bags, ones with zippers and ones without. But this is the one that caught my eye, so I had to get this one. And I don't normally, I think I've only ever bought a couple of project bags from other makers because I've made so many of these like just super basic zipper pouches or zipper bags for myself. But it's so nice to like, I mean, not only support other makers, but to have a different style of project bag, because this one's got a drawstring instead of a zipper, so it's, you know, it closes without the risk of having your yarn get caught in the zipper. I've never had that happen personally, but I have known of a friend who had their yarn stuck in the zipper one time in one of their project bags. So I'm usually very careful and I shove everything down to the bottom before I zip it. But anyways, so in here I've got all my little notions and then one more big purchase that I made outside of Knit City at a yarn shop. So, oh, and the other thing too about this project bag is it's got these pockets on the inside. I can't really see, but there are like these pockets on the inside. Oh, and it smells so good in here because I got a bar of soap. Okay, so I got some wool wash, just a little thing of Eucalan, because I just recently ran out of my lavender one. The booth I got this from, I think it was Crafty Jack's Boutique. And so I got the last jasmine scented one. And then I was going for a measuring tape as well. And specifically I was looking for these ones because I have the cat measuring tape. And I saw the fox, and I believe this was also at Crafty Jack's Boutique. So I've got the little fox. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited about this. So now I can finally replace my, what is this? This is a retractable measuring tape, so I can replace the one that's not retractable with this one. Okay, and then this is a bar of soap. Not knitting related, but one of the booths had soap, and I can't say no to soap. So the booth that was selling this, they had some pottery, some fiber, and some, I think it was like mitten blockers and sock blockers. I think it was like the 3D printed stuff. And then they had little soaps. This booth was at Fibers West, and I bought soap from them back then too, but I've already gone through it. Oh my gosh. So this is Midnight Rain Lanolin soap, and it is from, the booth was called Maza House Pottery. Well, I'm assuming, because it's Maza House Pottery soap. Sorry, the light is so terrible. But yeah, so this is the soap. It's so pretty. If only you could smell it. It smells amazing. And I left it in my project bag specifically so my project bag would smell super nice. So I bought 2 bars of soap, one for my friend and one for myself. And then this is from, oh yeah, so then I got my stitch markers from Firefly Notes. And on Saturday, my friend and I arrived about 10:30, because I, for some reason, thought that Knit City opened at 10 o'clock and went from 10 to 5, but it was actually 9 to 4. So we got there 10:30 on Saturday, and by the time we got to the Firefly booth, it was probably 11 o'clock. And they had 4 pairs of scissors left. And so my friend and I snatched them up right away because they only had one of each type of, I think there were 4 different scissors, so 4 different shaped scissors or style of scissors. And so my friend grabbed the one with the big finger holes. And I grabbed this one. So it's just a pretty scissors. I've been looking for just a nice pair of scissors that look nice, I guess. And it came with a sheath for it. So they were saying that they had brought a large amount of scissors, and within like the first 2 hours, I guess, all but 4 of them sold. So yeah, so when we got to the booth, my friend and I immediately just grabbed the scissors and were like, oh, okay, I guess these are the ones that we're gonna buy. Because we wanted to look at the stitch markers too, so we made sure to have the scissors in our hands so they wouldn't get snagged by someone else. And then of course I picked up another package of the, what is this? The Handy Honeycomb stitch markers. So this comes with, I believe it's 7 10mm honeycomb shaped stitch markers, and then 1 progress keeper that's in the shape of a bee. And I don't normally use progress keepers or progress markers, but the ones that if I do use them, I usually use the ones like things that don't dangle too much or can risk getting caught on things. And I like the bumblebee that comes in this one because it's just like a flat little bee. So yeah, can't really see. Oh, there you go. Kind of see the honeycomb shaped markers in there. And then the other thing I wanted to get was another Notions tin. So this is like a little matchbook style, or matchbox style, matchstick box style, whatever. And it says shiny things on it. It was too good to pass up. I think this was the last one that I saw with this particular picture on it, so I had to snag it. Yeah, so that was my purchase from Firefly Notes. And then I got, oh yeah, and then from Ocean Loops, I got these beautiful amethyst stitch markers. So there's 5 stitch markers on here. There's, I guess, well, one of them's amethyst, and then I think, well, the other one looks like it has a little bead of amethyst on it as well, and then like some pink and purple beads. So that's that. Sorry, the light is so terrible in here, and the thing's not gonna focus, is it? Okay, sorry for the interruption. I don't normally have visitors, but I had a surprise visitor drop off some yarn, so it's always good for me. Where was I? I was talking about my stitch markers. Oh, here we go. So yes, ocean loops. I got these lovely stitch markers. And oh, I think what I was going to say was what, aside from the purple, what drew me to this particular set was this little bird cage right here. And of course it's not going to focus, but trust me, there's a charm. It has a bird in a cage. And I thought it was too cute to pass up. So that was that. So that was, I think that's all my purchases from Knit City. And the last thing I purchased was actually from Black Sheep Yarns. And so my friend and I were on our way to her place after the market on Saturday, and she asked if there was anywhere else I wanted to stop, and I was like, oh, actually, Black Sheep Yarns is on the way to her place, so I've been eyeballing, or have been wanting a set of Chiaogu, the small, what is it, the Chiaogu interchangeable needles, the small set. And so I called Black Sheep Yarns first just to make sure that they have it in stock, and I had them put it on hold, and then we got there 20 minutes later. And so I've got the Chiaogu Twist small set, Chiaogu Twist red lace in the small set, so it goes from 2.75 millimeter, sorry, US 2, which is a 2.75 millimeter, to US 8, which is a 5 millimeter. And I got the 4-inch needles. I saw at Knit City, I think it was Sweet Georgia, had the 5-inch needle set, but I specifically wanted the 4-inch needle set, so I was like, okay, I initially was like, I'll just order them online and be done with it. But since the yarn shop, Black Sheep Yarns, was on the way, stopped in and got it. So I will open it up real quick. Nope. There we go. Okay, so comes in this really cute case. And I'm excited because in the summer I bought a couple of cords and a couple of needle tips just to try out the interchangeable set. And I liked it so much that I was like, yeah, I definitely want to invest in the full set, or not the full set, sorry, but at least the small set. So I've got the 7 needle tips here. And the nice thing about this case is it's got the pockets for the other sizes as well. So I'm excited about that. And of course it came with some cords. And then, oops, there goes the paper. Came with the cords and then some extras. The pins, a needle gauge, and some stitch markers. So yeah. So altogether, I did technically stay under budget if you don't count the cost of food for the weekend. And I started putting money aside for Knit City back in January. And then, so I've been saving for several months leading up to Knit City Vancouver this past weekend. So I had a bigger budget than previous years. And when I found out that Knit City also wasn't coming to Vancouver next year, I was like, okay, well, I can justify a little bit over budget if I need to. But like I said, I technically stayed within my budget for yarn and notions and the needle set, because I was going to buy the needle set anyway. So I just count that as part of my Knit City weekend purchases. Yeah, so that's all the stuff that I got this past weekend at Knit City and also from Black Sheep Yarns. And I'm hoping to get started on these projects. I don't anticipate I'm going to finish them all by the end of the year. That's just not going to happen. But I am planning to prioritize my Knit City purchases and projects that I want to knit. Even though I've got, I don't know, half a dozen, if not more, works in progress on the needles currently. I'm hoping to get a couple of projects off the needles so that I can at least start one hat and one garment from my purchases from this past weekend. That's the plan. But yeah, so anyways, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about for my Knit City adventure this past weekend. And I'm hoping to film a podcast, like a regular podcast episode soon, so stay tuned for that. And That's all for now, and until next time, happy knitting. Bye!